Whether you're just starting out or well on your way as a professional writer, director, actor, or editor, I'd love to hear about the challenges that you're facing. I'm here to help. Learn from the mistakes that I've made. Let's locate your unique voice and bring it to the screen. These are my adventures in cinema, and I hope you enjoy them. Luke Skywalker to confront his father, Darth Vader, for example. That's the objective of the scene. If that is the objective of the scene, then which position would you like to put the camera in that best portrays the status dynamic between these two characters, that helps us observe that objective, which is the way the audience will be observing the objective. And there's a word that I just used in there, which is a critical word actually, and it's more for, I use it a lot more for like understanding acting than for directing, but I think the word status takes up a huge significance when we talk about camera. Who is high status in a scene? Which character? And which character is low status in a scene? And the way status is determined, again, I have to go back to acting, is by figuring out who's the dominant force. And in a usually well-written scene, the status changes hands multiple times, particularly in a scene where you have more than two characters. One line, one word, one inflection, one action can change the status of one person to the other. And the most simple example of this is if you have a gun or a sword. If there's one gun and two guys are fighting for it, the guy obviously who has the gun has got higher status. So that's where you want to put the camera. You have to decide whether the guy with the sword has more dominance in the frame, hence you put the camera at a low angle. Again, I'm breaking it down to very simple terms. Or if you're trying to shoot the guy without the sword, then you perhaps put it at a slightly higher angle, right? And this sort of logic dictates the position of the camera. There's no right and wrong about these things. There are just better ways of doing something and not so great ways of doing something. And a not so great way of positioning camera is to get a fancy shot. When camera work is drawing attention to itself, for example, it's a bit like an actor overacting, or a costume of, let's say, somebody who's trying to play a sweeper or a beggar or whatever, being perfectly starched. It tests credulity. It tests your natural sense of suspension of disbelief with which you come into a cinema wanting to be entertained. For me, simplicity, keeping things simple and simplicity in itself is nuance, it's complexity. What we want to do, what we are trying to do is emotionally engage the audience. We are not trying to show off the fact that we can move the camera in the funny way, you know. What we are trying to do is keep the audience engaged and invested in the movement of the character and where they are going, what they are doing. Because you may decide that you want to emphasize a certain aspect of the scene a little bit more than somebody else, and that's always differs from director to director. Some directors might say that the guy with the sword in the hand doesn't need to be shown at all. What you need to see is the fear on the guy without the sword, for example. And for him, that is the objective of the scene, is to show fear. You see how it changes? But immediately you're changed. You've changed the angle, you've changed the position, you've changed the movement, right? Maybe the person without the sword is more agitated, more nervous. So then the director decides that I'm not going to film this on a tripod or on a dolly. I'm going to go handheld. I'm going to get a, unshaky movement around it. And you see, but everything has to follow a logic of the emotional beat that you're trying to achieve. That emotional beat has to have a resonance in the camera work. Think of how Tarantino places his camera, actually. That's very interesting. You know, everybody thinks Tarantino is this guy who is crazy. You know, he's a crazy filmmaker and he has these absolutely nut job, you know, scripts, and he plays with time and he plays with these zany characters, etc. But look at the camera work. Tarantino's camera work is classic Hollywood camera work. It's static. And when it moves on a dolly, you know, and it moves in a very purposeful manner. And one of the greatest shots, I think, of Tarantino's in Pulp Fiction is when Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta pop the trunk of the car. They open the dicky. And any other director perhaps would have put the camera behind them, on the side, wherever. But where does Tarantino put the camera? He puts it inside the trunk looking up. So the minute they pop the trunk, it's two of them looking into the camera like this. Now, tell me, isn't that the most obvious place that you want to put a camera if you want to have two guys who are opening a trunk? It's so logical. You want to see the faces of these two actors. Because before that, all you've seen is them driving and talking about Whopper with cheese and McDonald's and Burger King and God knows whatever. There's some long conversation about eating burgers. They pop the trunk and you know something sinister is going to happen just because of that really ultra low angle and these two looming two guys on a big screen. These two big guys looming at you, looking down into the camera, and they're looking into your soul actually as an audience. And that's really where the movie starts off for me. And so that is the most obvious place that you could have put the camera, and he did.